Dr. Cordellino?
Here.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Johnson?
Here.
Dr. King? Dr. Modrow?
Here.
Mr. Morello? Ms. Novi?
Here.
Mr. O'Brien? Mr. Palmer?
Here.
Genevieve Blake?
Here.
And Jay Sarai?
Here.
Quorum present.
Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Tevis, please read the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law statement.
The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public, where the advance notice to attend the meetings of public bodies of any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Montville Township Board of Education approved this meeting date. Notice of the meeting was posted at the Montville Municipal Building, or Montville Public Schools, the Montville Public Library, the Montville Township Board of Education Administrative Office Building, the Montville Public School website, and advertised as Daily Record.
Thank you. So we have our students here tonight. So we anxiously await your report.
Fantastic. Good evening, everyone. Starting off with sports, this past weekend was excellent for the Mustang sports teams. First, the girls lacrosse team beat Morris Hills by a score of 15-7. Claudia Trianto led the way by scoring 6 goals and having 2 assists, bringing her total points for the game to 8. And Julia Labasso was not far behind with 4 goals and 2 assists. The boys lacrosse team beat Jefferson under the lights on Montrose home turf by a score of 7-1. Senior Brandon Kelly was dominant the entire game and was able to score 4 goals and have an assist as well. The softball team beat Chatham under the lights this weekend too, with a score of 8-5. Rachel Inglesino continued her unbelievable season with 3 hits, 3 runs, and 2 RBIs. She is currently hitting .750 on the year and hit her 100th career hit last week. Furthermore, senior Sammy Booth set the MTHS hit record. She is currently standing at 118 career hits. The girls are right now competing in their first county game.
In addition to this, Leah Wiss, this past week, threw her personal best at the International Weekend Relay, earning her a finalist spot and 7th place in the meet. For clubs, this year MTHS had an amazing performance at the New Jersey Chinese Culture Project Conference, taking home 1st place. Winners included Vicky Hahn, Elaine Hong, Dana Murphy, Jeff Wu, Nicholas Howard Shenko, Zachary Feldman, Christina Pan, and Eric Wu. They were advised by Mrs. Lisbeth May, with extra support from Ms. Christina, Ms. Markowski, and Ms. Basio. DECA is currently competing in Orlando, Florida. The award ceremony is currently ongoing, and we will announce it on the next meeting. The forensics team traveled to Lexington, Kentucky this weekend to compete in the 44th Annual Tournament of Champions. To qualify, a student must final at a national tournament, apply, and be accepted. This year, 8 students received this honor. In particular, Natasha Dusage advanced to quarterfinals in original oratory. Zachary Feldman, Noah Wandlash, and Sanas Kumar advanced to semifinals in humorous interpretation, exam, and Congress, respectively. Lastly, Jay Surratt advanced to the final round in exam, taking home a 5th place performance and being Montville's first ever Tournament of Champions final.
Moving on to the rest of the school, each month over the course of the last 2 months, the MTHS administration has selected 2 recipients of the Character Counts Award. The goal of the award is to honor students that go above and beyond to make a difference in Montville. The March winners are Luke Decker and Samantha Moore. The class of 2015 just began their annual sale of prom tickets. This year's prom will be held at the Manor in West Orange on May 28th, and students and faculty members are equally excited. It will be a midnight in Paris that hopefully everyone will remember.
Looking into the future, May is right around the corner and the year is near done. With park steps to finish, teachers are in high gear to prepare for tests and the like. But besides of that, students are ready for the countdown to the season 2020.
Well, thank you. We really enjoyed having you with us this school year. It's always a pleasure to have the high school seniors sit at our table and participate in our board meeting. So I know this isn't your last meeting, but thank you.
I just wanted to say that 2 of you get better and better every couple of weeks. And those of us who have been sitting board members for a period of time are seeing up, way up, amongst the best. You're doing a great job. Are any networks offering any jobs for you to as anchor people? No?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move now to superintendent's report.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Hope you're doing well. I'm going to start out with something brief that's not on the agenda. The College Board, as they're looking at the PSAT and SAT tests in the future, and looking to revise those testing instruments, have decided for next year to offer the PSATs only on 2 different Wednesdays, I believe it is. In the past, there was a Saturday option, but that does not exist for next year. So Andrea Woodring, our Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum Instruction, is working closely with Leslie Scheckman, our Director of Guidance, as to how, in fact, to offer this important assessment for our students, knowing that it's happening on a school day. So what we're going to be doing, and we've done something similar in the past when we've had an important event having to happen at the high school that doesn't affect the entire high school, but affects a great many students, is that we will be offering the PSATs on a particular Wednesday, and one of the Wednesdays that we're able to do that, and that's going to be Wednesday, October 14th. It will take place from approximately 7:30 a.m. when the students enter the building until 11 a.m. We'll probably have somewhere between 450, and we're not sure of the higher amount, but a good many students taking the test. Typically, it could be a combination of students in grades 9, 10, and 11. They'll offer it to any student available. Students do have to pay, as they have in the past. That's not a change. Take the test. And students who are not taking the test will have a late arrival at the high school that day. And again, we have used this practice before when we're in this similar situation with regard to various testing options and situations. So I wanted to bring that forward for the board so that you're aware of it. I don't think we need board approval for this. Again, it's something we've done in the past. We arranged the busing appropriately for this to happen. And Doug Sanford and his administrative staff will take care of this through their usual communication with parents about this. And Leslie Scheckman will be involved, of course, as well with regard to the payment and the arranging for the testing. Any questions for the board? Under my remarks is, I'll call it a very, very short presentation that's going to be made by Paul Pitello, our supervisor of athletics, and Doug Sanford, our high school principal, on NJSIAA, on some of the important matters that are coming before that body. For those of you who don't know, this is the Athletic Commission in New Jersey that is responsible to oversee athletics for all the public and private parochial schools in the state. And there's an important question about public and private school participation that's coming up next December. So Paul and Doug, I'd ask you to perhaps come up to the podium, talk about that a little bit, and talk to the board about your perspective about the situation.
Hello, everyone. The proposal on the table came from a committee of football coaches and athletic directors across the state representing both private and public schools. The proposal will come to a vote in December, and it will be voted on by the high school principals. The proposal is to separate the public and private schools in the sport of football. Currently, there are about 37 of those parochial or private schools in New Jersey. If it passes, and we support that because of the unequal playing field we feel that exists, the parochials would then be divided into their own leagues and would not compete against the public schools unless the public school chose to play an independent game against those private schools. Also on the table, which we will see pretty soon too, is the concern about transfers. The penalties for transfer will become more severe when you are transferring from a public school to a parochial school, or from a parochial school to another parochial school. And the reason for that is there's been so many transfers for athletic advantage. What is on the table is that you transferred from a public school to a private school without a change of address, that you would have to sit out for 45 days, and also you would not be eligible to participate in the state tournament. If you transferred from a public to public without a change of address, you still have to sit out 30 days, but you'd be eligible for the state tournament during that season. And another proposal is that if you transfer from a parochial back to your home school, your public school, then you would not have to sit out those 30 days. So those are the things being discussed. I also think that after the vote, if the vote for football passes, we're going to see it take place in other sports. There's also a real imbalance in sports like wrestling, boys and girls basketball. So I think those sports will be put on the table as well in the near future.
Paul summarized it quite well, the different processes that are going to take place between now and next December. I guess what I'll reiterate is that he and I agree very much so that we're in support of the public and private schools separated, so that we're competing on different playing fields. By all means, the idea of having independent contests that cross over that line between the public and the private, I think is totally appropriate at the discretion of both those schools. But for all intents and purposes, the athletic playing field, there's an imbalance that now exists in terms of how competitive public school athletes are with private school athletes.
Just to give you a few examples of the imbalance, severe imbalances. For example, Don Bosco Prep over the past 12 years is 42-0 against public schools. St. Peter's Prep over the same period is 70-1. Del Barton, which plays in our league, is 29-0 over the past 5 years. If you looked at the top 20 in the Star Ledger for football this year, 6 out of the top 10 were parochial schools. If you look at some of the other sports, in girls basketball, 9 out of the top 20 were parochial schools. In boys basketball, 12 out of the top 20 were parochial schools. In wrestling, 11 out of the 14 individual state champions were from parochial schools, and 6 out of the top 10 schools were from parochial schools. So that shows you the imbalance that's going on the playing field. And I think the reason football was addressed first because it's also a safety issue, where you're competing against a team that's so much physically superior than yours. It not only affects you in that game with injuries, but will impact the game you're going to play the following week when you don't have those players because of injuries. Any questions?
Where would you anticipate the biggest pocket of resistance from this is going to come from? The parochial schools, and if anyone else who?
The parochial schools are kind of split on whether they should be separated or not. Some of the more powerful ones do not have a problem with it. Like I know Del Barton, which is in our school, our league, does not want the split. And in North Jersey, I think more schools are in favor of the split than in South Jersey, because that's where the most football powers are.
Yeah, understandable, because the thing is that I would think a lot of the parochial schools are against it because they realize if they have to play each other, they're not all going to win, and that's the biggest issue for them?
Well, I think the football powers, if you look at their schedule now, a lot of them are actually going out of the state of New Jersey to play powers in other states. So they're looking at national schedules, a lot of them. And a lot of people will argue that not all of the parochials are doing that, but I would argue they all have the potential to do that. A perfect example would be DePaul, which normally was on almost an equal playing field with a lot of the publics, but in the last 5 years, it's changed. They have now gone to a national schedule. They have now gone to the point where they're trying to play with the powerhouses football. So I believe that it will pass this time, but we'll find out in December.
Question? May I?
Yes?
Yeah, Paul, I do follow this, so, and I agree with the position and strongly that because of the recruiting of players that they hope are destined for the top division of football, there is a physical issue regarding football. And I see that in today's paper, as a matter of fact, that Paul did pick up an Ohio school, so they are going to, it looks like they're going to make arrangements so they do not have to play twice. They will go out of state and play other powers. My question is, if you're going to recruit, and obviously football is the most physical, the most dangerous, what is the thought on moving on some other parts of the program, particularly, let's say, basketball, where the recruiting is equally as bad, the physical results of injuries are not the same? Is that, do you believe that is going to happen down the road? What is the level of discussion about the other sports, be it basketball,
The
wrestling,
last
or
time
whatever?
this was proposed, they tried to do it across all sports, and eventually it did not pass.
It did not.
It did not, but I think the biggest imbalance right now is football.
Yeah.
So I believe that's the starting point, but I think that it will be returned to the table if that passes, and that these other sports are also going, because other coaches from those sports are concerned with it as well.
Okay, just a couple of procedural things about the meetings, which most of us never get to attend. It's just the principal and you said the athletic director. When they have to vote on these matters at the meeting, is it a show of hands? Is it public, like the board votes, or is it by secret ballot? How does it actually transpire?
It will be done by ballot.
It's done by ballot.
Yeah, and you have to be present to vote.
Okay, so have you and our principal come to any meeting of the mind, so to speak, on when the issue regarding transfers comes up? Is there a position of the various positions that you support regarding the penalties?
We have not seen the final proposal. We've only heard what
I'm sorry, I just can't hear.
we haven't heard the final proposal on the transfer rule, so we don't know all the details. Only what I have told you, Steve, that it will be more severe from going from public to private or from private to private. But we don't know the details, but we will be in support of that because it also enhances the imbalance that goes on. And it also impacts what you'll see sometimes in a parochial school. A basketball player will be playing for one parochial school. Their school, it looks like the following year is not going to be strong, so he then decides to transfer to the stronger school for the next season, sits his 30 days, and makes that school even more powerful.
Right, I've seen this, yes. Okay. So you and the principal are in support of stronger penalties for transfer when appropriate?
I think one goes hand in hand with the other. I don't think you can have one with the other, without the other.
Thank you.
Charlie?
Thank you very much, guys. When you get those proposals, would you be kind enough to share them with the board? Because we read so much in the paper, it may or may not be accurate, and it'd be nice to get the true story of what you guys actually have to vote upon at your December meeting. So if you could send that over to the administration, I'm sure they would forward it to us. just so we can see what the heck is being brought up, because there's a lot of language, you know, especially with the parochial war right. Someone will leave, so-and-so will wind up with Roselle Catholic or St. Anthony's. It's something that I think has to be done, but if you could get us that final proposal, I would appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I agree with that. I think that's information, Mr. Brown, that we should be getting in our packet as it becomes available, so that we know what the score is, so to speak.
Yeah, the competitive imbalance is impacting female sports as well now, too. It's not just the male sports. Basketball is a perfect example of that. If you look at, like I said, 9 out of the top 20 were from parochial schools.
Let me ask the question to the board this way. If Mr. Pignatello and Mr. Sanford had to vote tomorrow, would they have our support in what they've said they would vote on? Yes?
Yes. Yes.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you both. Appreciate your time tonight. Okay, we now have a number of presentations this evening, and we're very excited, and we're pleased that so many of our families are here tonight to support their children and take part in these presentations. Our first one is from the Montville Education Foundation. They recently ran a logo contest to enhance the name and the excitement around the Montville Educational Foundation. With us tonight, come to the podium, Dennis Naldi, welcome. Thank you for being here, and I know that she has some presentations to make this evening. Darius, the president.
Thank you so much, Dr. Freed. I'd like to thank everyone this evening for actually joining us on these presentations. And I would especially like to thank Dr. Freed, who really embraced our organization's contest and then shepherded it through to the different departments and really identified Ed Fleischman as the individual who was going to be the point person through to the other principals and the art department. So we thank you so much. It was a great success because of your support. With that said, joining me this evening, we have folks from our MEF. I hope you come up and join us. We have Michael Abramson, who is our past president. We have Camille Bresman. We have Stacy, as well as Janet Ryan. So please come up as we're going to do the presentations. So the first presentation is going to be done to our first place winner. And our first place winner is out of the high school. So I'm going to ask Doug Sanford if you would join us also. Our first place winner, and these were all done anonymously. So we received 68 entries. There were a lot of entries, and it was from all grade levels. It was from the elementary school, the middle school, as well as the high school. And we were really looking for a logo that said, could be rather succinct and that we could use on our documents that we send out, as well as put it onto the website. So the individual that was chosen, her name is Tiffany Lai, and she is in 12th grade. Tiffany, please come and join us. So Tiffany's logo, and I'm going to show it to everyone. This is our new logo. If everyone can see it, it is a book, and it has underneath it, it says MEF, and it's going to be embellished with Montville Educational Foundation. And so Tiffany is also pursuing a career in graphic design at Carnegie Mellon. So of course we knew nothing of this when she had done the presentation. So it is my great pleasure, and Tiffany, I'm going to give you a couple of personal letters also that say, after careful consideration, our Board of Trustees, with over 65 submissions, your design was chosen for its strength, clarity, and professional appearance. We look forward to using your logo on the face of the MEF for many years to come. We thank you. And along with that comes a $100 gift certificate. So please join me in congratulating Tiffany. Come on, Mom, come on.
Tiffany, will you come up and shake our hands?
And yeah, can you show the board the logo as you walk around?
Thank you, Tiffany, so much. The best of luck to you in the future. Our second prize winner is a young girl by the name of Isabel Mangano. Would you please join me, Isabel? Her principal is Dave Belucci. Dave, would you come up also? Isabel is fifth grader, and she competed with all of the other entries. And her entry, because she gave me the original, looks like this. It's a three-dimensional entry that has a boy and a girl upside down, hanging from the F, and a boy, and crayons and glue and the globe, and it's absolutely beautiful. And she won second place. And we congratulate her very, very much. And after careful consideration, your design is being recognized for its creativity and beautiful attention to detail. We congratulate you and award you a $50 gift certificate. Thank you again, Isabella. Our third winner is Veronica Tulo. Would you join me, please? She is a 7th grader out of the middle school. Mrs. Carr, would you join us, please? Thank you. So Veronica has drawn what we embody to be education. So when everyone thinks of education, folks think of the owl. Owl has been used as someone extremely wise and thoughtful, as well as books and of course, a chalkboard, which even though we still have the smart boards, we do have chalkboards, right? You're laughing, I know. That's what you had, right? Yeah. So we do thank you so much for your submission, and she has been awarded a gift certificate to Applebee's for you and a friend to have lunch or dinner on us. And we thank you so very much for what you have contributed to our organization. And again, I just want to read something. After careful consideration, our Board of Trustees has awarded your design as being recognized for its creativity and embodiment of the MEF's mission. Thank you so much and congratulations. Again, thank you all. Appreciate it. Let's get one picture as a request. Dr. Reed, would you join us?
So congratulations to those who participated in the event, over 60 people, so we're very, very pleased and proud of all of you. I want to thank Daria and the board from MEF for all of your support for our schools and students. We really do appreciate that a great deal.
Thank you.
Okay, we have yet another set of awards tonight, and these are for our Arbor Day poster winners. Each year, under the leadership of Michelle Karen from our Environmental Commission, we have an Arbor Day event and a poster contest that precedes that. And I know that Michelle works very hard on this event each year and helps organize our principals and schools as we bring our student work forward. So with us, is Michelle here tonight? Okay, and I don't see her here. But we recently had a celebration for our Arbor Day event at Cedar Hill School, where one of our teachers was honored this year. Dr. Kathy Lundquist was honored as the recipient of the Arbor Day Award this year, and well-deserving. So we're very, very proud of her. And with us tonight, we have our two principals, Dr. Garage and Mr. David Malucci, the three first, second, and third place winners of the Arbor Day poster contest or from Cedar Hill and William Mason. So I'd ask Dr. Raj and Mr. Malucci perhaps to come to the podium. I'd ask Dr. Cordolino to join them as the board has something to provide them with. And I think Dr. Raj, we're beginning with one of your students.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Hear me? There we go, better, thank you. There were, I would say, hundreds, if not thousands, of entries for this Arbor Day poster contest in the 4th grade throughout Montville Township schools. And very happy to say that one of our students, a 4th grader, Mahir Tangatori, took first place in the poster contest. So Mahir, please come on up. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Here, you want that one?
We were able to see the posters at the presentation at Cedar Hill School, and they were wonderful. I know they don't have them with them this evening.
Okay, I guess we're next, Dr. Freed.
You are, Ms. Malucci.
Dr. Raj, we're disappointed. We were expecting a speech. William Mason's second place award winner, we're proud to announce, is Jenna Orlino. She's a 4th grade student in Mrs. McLaughlin's class. So congratulations, Jenna.
Please be considerate of what you asked for, because I do have the microphone now, so here comes my speech. Our 3rd place winner, Misha Gill, could not be with us here this evening, so on behalf of Misha, I will accept her award and bring it to her tomorrow morning. Thank you very much.
And again, congratulations to all of the students who participated in this Arbor Day poster contest. And again, our thanks to Michelle Karen for all of her efforts on behalf of our students. Thank you. Our next presentation is going to be from our Montville Township High School robotics team. And hello, Dr. Schwartz, are you going to be involved in this at all? Well, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Barb Carrier, and I'm co-advisor of the Montville Township robotics team. And this is my co-advisor, Mr. David Kogar. And we want to start off by saying thank you so much for your support of this wonderful wonderful club. These boys have done so much, and we are so proud of them. And I want to direct your attention to that table over there for all the awards that they won just this year alone. forgive me, I'm going to read a brief introduction. I don't want you to forget anything. The robotics program is truly the epitome of project-based learning and problem-based learning, which is at the heart of STEM. The students are given a challenge to design and build a robot that performs a specific task in order to score points. They are judged not only on how many points they score, but also on their robot design, how effectively they solve problems during the design and building process, how accurately and comprehensively they develop their engineering notebook, how they interact with their teammates, and forge relationships with the teams from other schools. The students are largely independent. Mr. Polgar and I are there to mentor, answer questions, listen to ideas, but the students have a large degree of autonomy. Designing and constructing a robot to perform a challenge is an ideal way to tie physics, engineering, and mathematics together in real situational learning. However, it requires resources, and the students do a large amount of fundraising. Thank you very much. The Montville Robotics team has very supportive sponsors such as Maroda Systems in Montville, Capizio Dance, and Funny Book Comics, just to name a few. This year we have spent over $10,000 on robots alone. We are truly dependent on all of the funds that are allotted to us, and we are very grateful. I can't wait for you to see what this team has done. They really are amazing.
We're very proud of them.
Yeah.
Ms. Creer mentioned that we've spent over $10,000. We don't only build one robot, just to clarify. We have 6 different teams at this school alone, where our 30-plus members join their own teams, usually based on grade level and experience, where upperclassmen mentor the lowerclassmen. We have a very talented group of seniors who are unfortunately leaving, and there's nothing we can do about it. We've tried, but it won't work. And there's going to be a struggle to pass on their knowledge. They will take a lot with them. But one of the best things about this specific group in front of you is that they're great at sharing the knowledge that they have, and that is what some of the judges and other teams have commended us for, that we are very great at sharing our knowledge and helping other teams be better, not just ourselves.
My name is Noah Lichtenstein. I am co-president of the Robotics Club for this year.
My name is Poojan Shah. I'm also a senior, and I am the other president of the Robotics Club.
My name is Brian Shaw, and I am the public relations officer of the Robotics Club.
Tonight, and we'll try our best to keep it brief, so no promises. We'd like to just kind of go over very quickly our club, how it works, our process and our progress over the years, our importance to high school development, STEM sciences, as well as community building, and then finally, we'd like to end with a very short demonstration in front of you guys if you can. So, Montville Robotics is one of the only clubs in high school that really truly satisfies all 4 areas of STEM learning. Each year, we work with a company called Vector Robotics, and we assign the entire world participants a task and a very confined set of rules that we must follow. It is the job of the students, largely independently, to engineer a unique solution to these complex set of problems. To do so, students will spend weeks designing on paper, on whiteboards, etc., iterating and reiterating over the old design so they can find in groups between 4 and 10 optimal solutions. We build between 4 and 6 robots every year, although as our membership goes up, that number is increasing. On top of the engineering aspects alone of our robots that we build, we also foster good community skills. I know I personally have made some of my best friends through robotics, and I'm sure that feels the same for most of you that are standing off the side here today. On top of that, we have a very good focus on programming and computer science skills that really combines high-level mathematics, algorithms, and just a key understanding of sensors concepts that you learn in school because you practice math classes to a practical level that you can then apply to the real world. We play a game every year, and you may not think, hey, you're picking things up and putting them down in class or whatever. But just this year, we have taken our ideas outside the box. If you actually just go over there, speaking of the box, we found early in our year we actually had a really big problem. We have so many teams now that we have so many batteries to charge. It gets so hot that you can barely pick them up if you're not careful. So we had one student who unfortunately is not here today, but he had a very ingenious idea just from his own kind of, he sketched out, he brought it to us, and he said, hey, I think I have an idea how we can keep our batteries cool. We actually, at first during the winter, just went outside and we grabbed snow, and we stuck it in giant Ziploc bags and used them to cool down the batteries. But I think this is probably a better solution. I think it's just a very quick example of the kind of engineering mind inside the model.
So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about the game this year specifically. Every year, Vex changes the game. They presented to us a new problem that we have to solve. This year specifically, the game involved pegs, yellow pegs. Roger, if you can pull the peg up. So that's one of the yellow pegs. That's one of our game pieces. And one of the goals of our robots was to actually pick up this peg from a side tile and then score them into a base that's located somewhere on the field. Each of the teams, red and blue, have a base. So our robot was designed to pick up these pegs from the sides and then score them and stack them high. The name of the game was Skyrise, so you can see kind of where they get the name from. There were a total of 7 game objects of pegs that you can stack up, and in addition, we also had cubes. So Michael, if you just want to hold up one of the cubes, these cubes can be scored either on the peg Skyrise that we built, or the various posts that are located throughout the field, which we unfortunately cannot set up for you because there's a lot of stuff to bring down. So we just have a little portion for you to show you guys. As far as the club's success this year, it's been our most successful year ever. We have won various awards throughout the year. We compete at about 5 regional competitions. At every single competition, we've actually won an award. We have a display of all our awards from this year. There are a total of 8 awards. So at our first competition, we actually won first place overall. We were tournament champions, and we also won the design award for our unique design. And the judges were really impressed by how we solved the problem of the game. Every competition after that, our freshman team, some of the members who are up here right now, have also won awards such as the Build Award, Think Award, that basically commend on their ideas and their implementations of how they design and implement on the robot. Furthermore, so this year, how Vex is structured is that you compete at regional competitions. By placing first or winning a certain type of award, you qualify for a state competition. We actually have 2 teams that qualified for the state competition this year, and we competed in February. At the state competition, the senior team, 30X, actually qualified for World by being placed on the #1 seed team and winning tournament champion, which is where our banner comes from. So we're really proud of that. It's been a very successful year, and that qualified us for a world competition, which we competed almost 2 weeks ago now, after spring break, April 15th to 19th. We flew down to Kentucky, and in Kentucky we competed with international teams from Taiwan, China, Canada, Mexico. We met a lot of great people, and we've actually built relations with them as well. Another thing I'd like to bring to your attention is that we actually have a website. If you go to www.montvillerobotics.com, you can see some of our pictures and events throughout the year, read about some of our successes, and also see some of our sponsor information.
Another huge part of the club is how the club is run. And so, as Missy mentioned, all the seniors were officers this year, and we were all graduating. And luckily, every officer that will be next year is here today.
Have him come quickly say that. He just got very recently picked, so it's kind of new for them.
Hello, my name is Amish Patel, and I'll be the president next year.
My name is Michael Sember, and I'll be the co-vice president.
My name is Evan Chan. I'll also be the co-vice president.
My name is Brandon Chen. I'll be communications.
My name is Corey Benson, and I'll be public relations.
My name is Keith Patel, and I'll be the webmaster next year.
A big part, obviously, of engineering robotics in general that you don't just start from scratch every year. You take what you have, you take what other people have done, as is true in most research, builds on itself. And you keep improving what you have until it gets to the point where you go to places like the World Competition. We're very thankful for the work that previous years' officers and team members have put in and help us get to the point where we are. That said, we think it's very important that we help carry our knowledge, and not only that, but just the relations that we've made through for succeeding years. So we have this year spent a lot of our time, as I believe Ms. Carrier mentioned, the judges have pointed out, is that we have taken the time not only to document our design so that next year our team can do this, we've taken time to document every line of our program so that next year, when our seniors aren't here to explain it to them, they don't need us because we've already explained it. And so we'll pass around engineering notebook, kind of like binder, hard to miss. Documentation in any field you choose to go into is definitely a very important thing. So as you guys want to leaf through that, because I'm sure it's highly interesting, we will go in and set up a very quick demonstration for you. And I guess if anyone has any questions, they can now try over that.
Just as they're about to embark on setting this up for a quick demonstration, I just wanted to share a side fact, not necessarily related directly to robotics, but many of the students who are here tonight, many of the students who are in the robotics club, to put it bluntly, they're the reasons why last year, you might remember, we came to you a bit late in the game and asked to create and implement a new course here in the high school. And that was AP Physics, Electricity, and Mechanics, or Electromagnetism and Mechanics. As if AP Physics, Mechanics weren't challenging enough, there's a second tier of AP Physics with only a very select handful of schools that even offer the course, have the staff that can teach the course, and certainly have the students that can live up to the challenge of the course. I think it was Noah himself who began that conversation. He and I had it probably about this time last year. So they've really had a tremendous impact not only on each other, but on the school in a lasting sense. So they are to be commended for that.
Okay. We're going to quickly set it up and show you a quick demo of how the game works.
I don't really have a microphone anymore, it's simply reach. But I'd just like to point out, we talked about cooperation before. This robot has kind of reached its complexity, this is new for us this year, where we no longer control it with just one person. We control them using the kind of video game remote. But this is all programmed by hand. And at this point, it's gotten to the point where the two of us actually control the robot together. You control some and I control the other, and we practice for a very long time to get to a point where we're both on the same page, and that takes a whole bunch of frustrating cooperation. We've worked very hard to do that.
Feel free, guys in the audience, to get up, and if you can't see, we'll try to stand in that position. Yeah. So Ryan will be holding the pegs for us because we don't have the whole field with us. The pegs are actually placed in a certain folder, but because we weren't able to bring out the whole field, we're just going to have Ryan hold the peg so that we can actually pick them up.
So I guess the basics of the game is that you can manipulate the robot. It must start within 18 inches cubed, but it has to, by the time you end, the robot must fit, the robot to stack up 7 times, and 56 inches, about as tall as I. So we worked very long all year to start to perfect this mechanism. But basically, during the match, we go and we stack these using pneumatic pistons and a whole bunch of gears and other fun things to achieve this. And we were the first team in New Jersey at our first competition of the year to have, we were one of, I believe, 2 teams. We were one of the first 2 teams to actually have an intake that could successfully pick up and stack early in the year, we decided a strategy to aside from engineering, that the most effective way to score points consistently. We work in that manner with all the engineers and try to figure out the best ways to work on.
Yeah, so our road can actually stack up to 6 of these pegs high, and we can actually take these cubes. We have a rear intake system, which you can see in the back of that we have. And basically what it would do is it would pick up the cube, dump it to the tray in front. We can't do that right now because the batteries are unfortunately low. We didn't charge them enough beforehand. Yeah. So yes, we would store the cubes in our tray, and we can lift up. And then we had more pistons on the bottom that when I press the button, you see the bottom thing that lifts it below the plexiglass. That allows us cubes to slide down into the post that we would store on. So we actually have pistons that go down, and when we release them, they'll come back up. Yeah.
So with this robot, which is probably the most advanced design we've had in the past 4 to 5 years, we're able to perform very well, and we're very hopeful for off here. Thank you very much for your time and your attention.
Yes.
That's awesome. Driving at home, can I put my groceries away from me?
That would be great. I would never do that.
So I want to know what your plans are, the seniors or.
So I will be going to Northeastern University in Boston to study engineering.
I'm going to Stevens Institute of Technology, study biomedical engineering, and possibly second major in business.
You're the original science research, yes, I recognize you. Yeah.
That's a great experience as well.
And I will be going to Rutgers University from campus, and I will be studying computers.
Thank you. This is exactly why the 9 of us sit here, because young people like you can show off everything that you're learning here at school. I'm sure your parents are very proud. We're proud of you. There's a couple of books, don't forget them.
I'd like to thank our robotics team and our 2 wonderful advisors, Barbara and Dave, for all of your hard work and efforts with the students. We truly appreciate that. Sandy Schwartz as well, for your support with this team. It's terrific, and congratulations on all the fine work you've done this year and the awards that you've won. And this is the evening of presentations, so next we do have our public hearing and final adoption of the 2015-2016 district budget. So Jim Tevis, our business administrator, and I will do that presentation. We will be as brief as possible. So if our board members would like to take seats in the audience, we will begin our presentation and then follow it up with questions and comments from the board and from the community. Good evening once again. For the sake of brevity, I'm not going to go through reading you the beginning slides of the presentation. For those of you who have been through our budget process this year, you've seen them before. But we do have our mission statement, what our vision is, connecting to opportunity and high expectations for all, teacher effectiveness, passionate learners, inclusive settings, maintaining excellence while becoming a district of distinction. These are our district goals, and at a future board meeting, I'll be doing a report on our learning goals this year, as I've done every year in the spring, to report on the progress that we've made with our learning goals. And here they are, and you can see the original science research program is one of those goals. So we have the The slide I'm calling staffing highlights. I've condensed a variety of past slides that broke up our staffing into various categories, and this way I put it in one place. So on the elementary level, we have a decrease of 2 teaching positions. That's based on enrollment. And one of those positions is at Valley View School, and the other position is at Woodmont. At the high school level, we have a decrease of 1 teaching position in the area of English. We have an increase of a .4 ESL teacher, creating a full-time ESL position. And we have various stipends for areas such as science research and the media center. The area of special services, we see an increase of 3 special education teachers at the high school level. We have stipends at the high school in the area of special education, in areas like science and our math lab there. We have an increase of .5, a half-time teacher at Cedar Hill School. And we also have our primary special education teacher right now, which is run by Bergen Services, Bergen Special Services. We are, in fact, bringing that program into our district and running that program ourselves. And there's a cost saving for us in order to do that, so we'll be hiring those teachers to successfully administer and run that program. And then finally, although this conversation is still taking place with the township, we do have in our budget half the salary for a school resource officer to serve primarily at the high school, but certainly throughout the district. And we'll continue our conversation with our colleagues at the township to see if we can move that forward. There in technology, bringing 870 Chromebooks into the district at 27 carts to charge those Chromebooks and store them. 90 additional Chromebooks for each elementary school, for all 5 elementary schools, 90 for each, 60 for Lazar, 120 for the high school, and then 240 replacing equipment that's no longer useful. We have some smart boards going in Hilldale, in the smart board in Hilldale in the art room, smart board speakers at Valley View and Hilldale, and laser printers, 6 of them here at the high school. We have a couple of athletic proposals, a strength and conditioning coach, which is being paid for primarily out of the decreasing the need for the weight room coach stipend and 1 assistant wrestling coach stipend. Those 2 stipends will pay for the stipend of the strength and conditioning coach. Bleachers for our new turf fields, making sure all of our football helmets are 5-star rated, so there's money in the budget for that, and soccer goals for our new turf field. We have these areas of professional development, which you've seen before if you've seen our presentations. Everything from money for our school improvement panels, professional development, Wilson training, science research training, training in the area of Danielson, which is the model we use for our teacher observation and evaluation, training for AP courses for science research, and also, again, our teacher evaluation model. And finally, money for curriculum development. That has to do with new curriculum writing and revising curriculum that needs to be revised. These are in specific areas as determined by our Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum Instruction and our subject supervisors. And this is to pay our teachers to do this important writing when it's necessary. And that brings me over to Jim Tevis, who will be talking about facilities and a little bit more about technology.
Thank you, Dr. Friedman. Like I said, I think we have a milestone. I think this is going to be the first time that I'm going to spend longer on a presentation than you did. But I will try. God bless you. Okay, just moving on. I just want to take a few minutes. One thing I want to note is there is an addendum this evening to the agenda. The idea is a slight, really a typo correction to the budget that's on for final adoption. It's on the agenda. It was just that I had to update the statutory reference that was on the second page of that resolution, and I put the word final. none of the numbers changed. None of the figures changed at all. As a matter of fact, none of the figures or the numbers changed from the preliminary budget that was adopted by the board well over a month ago now. That being said, I just want to give you a few really the highlights on the supplies. In the non-instructional components of the proposed budget for 15-16, in terms of equipment for maintenance facilities and some projects, construction projects, and maintenance projects, and technology projects that we have incorporated into this budget. It is nice to be able to stand up before the community and the board for it is now the third, fourth year in a row, and not have to say this is just a maintenance budget. After we were really decimated in 2010. Dr. Cruz has really done a great job since he's been here in the district, pushing these new initiatives through and bringing us forward. It's really starting to show. Good. What I also want to note to everyone is, especially when we get to the very end in a couple of minutes, you're going to see some of the financial slides. They're very, very hard to read, whether they're on the printout or they're on the overhead here. But we do post all of these presentations to the website, usually within 24 hours. So you can blow it up, you can take a look at it. And you're also, I welcome the public to contact me for any questions you might have. Just give me a phone call, send me an email. I have had community members reach out to me, and I'm more than happy to take some time with you to go over any questions you might have. That being said, I'm not going to read it verbatim, but I just want to point out some of the more larger projects that we have in this budget. We are doing boiler replacement at two of our schools. It's going to be at the Valley School, it was our middle school. Just to give you as a reference, at the middle school, the boiler is from 1953. So I think it's long overdue. I think our maintenance facility won't do a great job to keep it going, but certainly not. Those are probably two of the biggest projects that we've got going this year, other than the high school media center, the renovations to the high school media center. That's up there. Technology, just continuing some of those initiatives, as Dr. Cruz mentioned in previous slides, we're Chromebooks and cards. And Austin Thompson, our facilities manager, has done a really wonderful job keeping up with all the changes to technology. It's very, very fast-paced world that he lives in. We're doing some wiring of the Valley School network rewiring. We're doing a school or two every single year. We're putting them in a budget. We're doing that consistently so that we can keep all of our buildings up to date with the latest technology. That being said, we're doing some equipment items. As Dr. mentioned, soccer balls, we turf for school athletic fields. We also have some maintenance equipment in the budget as well, plows, salt spreader, things of that nature. We had a lot more detail on this actually if we look at some of the previous presentations that Dr. Fried and I had given, and every single one of those is on our district website. We're going to leave them up there. After tonight, if the board adopts the final budget, in addition to the presentation, I'm going to be putting what's referred to as the user-friendly budget, which also goes into the communication district website. We also have, this is going to be the third year now that we've included money for safety and security initiatives. Some of those are kind of confidential. We don't want to, security and all that for student safety. We don't want to go into too much detail, but I know that Dr. Fried also briefed everyone on the initiative for school resource officers. Now what I'm going to do is move on to just the financial highlights. 15-16 budget. Essentially, we're at a 2% local tax levy increase. So this is really how a budget is capped, if you will, the last few years. We're not, the state doesn't cap any expenditure, so to speak. What you do is they cap the amount of revenue that you're allowed to increase your budget. The local tax levy is obviously what you would go vote on, voting on that local tax levy. Essentially, the bottom line is the operating expense of the general fund budget is increasing by just a little over 5%, 5.15%. It's very, very important for me to point out that the majority, a big piece of that 5% is because of the media center renovations. We have reserve funds that we've been setting aside now for a few years for this project. So, for example, we get to the end of the school year, we see that we have a little bit of money left over. What we're doing is we're taking that, we're moving it into something called a capital reserve account. And we actually were earmarking it, saving for a couple of years for finally able to afford to have enough money do this media center project at the high school we're doing now. So that's $1.7 million. That's actually a significant portion of the 5%. Point that out. The actual tax increase itself is on the average household, it's $151 and change, $2. I just want to point out that the average home in Montville is assessed at about $527,000. Shared services, this is something that we do invest heavily in, and every year we're looking to more and more on this if we can. Matter of fact, we just renewed an agreement with the municipality, the township, for another few years of garbage and recycling shared services. That's been a big one. It's been very successful. The district's definitely seen some money with that, as has the town. Transportation, we're going to do purchase custodial supplies, textbooks, so on and so forth. State aid comparison, it's no secret, state aid has remained flat. Montville is no exception to this. The one difference we did this year is we started anticipating a little bit more on extraordinary aid, which is money that we applied for and is allocated usually at the end of the school year. We're allocating, we're anticipating about $1.1 million that goes towards help offset some special education costs. This is that slide I was kind of referring to that it's a little bit difficult to read even on a blown-up overhead and print out. God bless you. Probably the best way to do this is if you're really interested, please contact me. I'm more than happy. I can email this to you in a better format. We'll also do that on the district website so you can blow it up. You can ask me questions. But it's a multi-year comparison. It's looking at the proposed budget, the current school year, and the last school year. And it's showing the local tax levy increases right there in the middle. You have the handout, which is easy to see. For example, in the 13-14 school year, the board approved a local tax levy increase of 1.75%. And the current school year, 14-15, proposed budget, 15-16, we're at a local tax levy increase of 2%. We are not utilizing support. We're not utilizing any waivers or extras of any kind. In other words, there are certain exceptions to that 2% local tax levy increase. For example, if your health benefit costs exceed a certain threshold, you're allowed to go over the 2% local tax levy. There's a number of these exceptions. There's also something referred to as a bank cap, and I think it's important that the public understand it. We're not doing anything. This is just a 2% increase in local tax levy, no waivers, no extras. And that's really it. That's the financial highlights and the non-instructional side of the budget. So, if anybody has any questions, I guess I'll turn it to Dr. Sweet.
Does the board have any questions? Kyle? Yes.
Do you
have received our state aid numbers?
Yes, we received the general state aid numbers, absolutely. Oh, yes, yes, and that's roughly.
This number's the state aid number.
Could you give me, I don't have my glasses on, which number are you referring to? The $1.8 million? Or the, trying to look at the actual, see which number you're referring to, so I can tell you what the breakdown is real quick.
Where is the general state aid number?
This general state aid number is in the very far right-hand column towards the top, the last one under the revenue, $2,934,143. You can see that or not?
What page are you looking at?
This is
Page
that.
9?
Yeah, top of page 9. And it's $2,934,143. That's comprised of general state aid, but that also includes an anticipated amount of $1.1 million for extraordinary aid. Extraordinary aid is not part of the general fund state aid. What that is it's an application that the district does, and actually we're working on it right now for the current school year. We send the application in along with everybody else in the state, and they have a pool of money, and they award that generally. They've been awarding that now somewhere in the beginning of July. Actually, it's getting delayed every year. I'm sorry.
Is that later?
You're correct. That's correct. Yes, they keep pushing it back every year. It seems you're preferring something else. So that's why I'm anticipating it. I don't know what that number will be, but I'm looking at historically what the district has applied for in the past, what we've received, and I'm very confident that we should be very good with this.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jim, just for clarification, if we were to use bank cap, what would it do to the percent increase on the local tax levy? Just up or down?
It would go up.
That's really all I was asking.
Go up, significant.
Any other questions?
I just wanted to, Jim, the state aid number was, I think, 1.984.
The general state.
The general
Yes.
state aid
That's
number.
correct.
So back in 2009, this district was receiving 3.2 million. And then we had a year where we had got nothing from the state. And since then, we've never even recovered to the 3.2 million. So as it stands, our district has lost over $10 million in counting, dating back to 2009 in state aid.
Cumulatively, yes, sir. We have. Preliminary index tax.
And in addition to that, of course, we've had unfunded mandates like HIV and most recently the park testing on top of it. So not only have we had lost state aid, but a lot of unfunded mandates from the state too.
Well, and a teacher evaluation as well. Are there any questions from the public on the budget? Come to the mic, state your name, and we'll be happy to answer them.
My name is Morton Roseman. I've been a resident of Montville for 48 years, and I've been to enough budget meetings to last. I have a problem with the mission statement, where you say exceptional education for our students by maximizing individual potential. Based upon what I've been going all over the country with Common Core, that's not going to happen. The last group I met with in Wisconsin, each class, let's take math for instance, was put into a group of 4. 3 students were exceptional, 1 was not so exceptional. They all had to come down to the lowest level of that group. So therefore, maximizing individual potential is not going to take place. As a parent, I asked, what about me, who I'm a mathematician, helping my students, go further? No, you're not allowed to. You got to keep it to the level of the last student in that group. So I want to know how you people are going to handle this under those circumstances.
I'll let one of the educators speak to the issues of math program, but you understand that the Common Core is not a local decision. The Board of Education has not.
It's a monetary decision.
No, it's actually not. It's a state mandated decision. It was.
And if you don't do it, you're going to lose the money, you'll lose the aid.
Well, I'm not sure what we would lose, frankly.
Mr. Duncan, who's the head of education in Washington, he is not an educator, so there's no sense talking to him like that. It's like this talking to a stone wall. He's a marketing man.
Well, I appreciate you. I just wanted to clarify that point, that it's the state of New Jersey that has adopted the Common Core, and we have to accept it. If the governor would like to make a move, or if the commissioner would like to make a move to remove the state of New Jersey from that obligation, that would be their prerogative. But as of now, local school boards have no say.
President, could you use the word
Can you use the microphone, please?
Sorry. Carol Lee Adams, who is the president of the Eagle Forum, I met with her, and I think Park Ridge is going to drop out. I don't know how they do that.
Well, we'll pay attention to that.
So, it's great. She really knows this stuff more than I do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Denise Goldweiler, Marguerite Lane, Toronto. I just have a couple of questions. The first one has to do with the handicap accessibility of the stadium bleachers. I was under the impression that last year, there was in a previous budget, it was supposed to have been done. That did not happen. And I don't see any mention of it in this budget right now. Can you give me an indication about what's going on with that?
Sure, certainly. It's not in budget because it's actually contained in the current year's 14-15 budget. We actually went out to bid twice. We had to reject bids on that a few times. So we are on track. We anticipate getting that done by the end of this, by June 30th at the latest, actually. They're actually working on it right now as we speak.
Okay, good. And the other question I had was the strength and conditioning coaches that are being advertised for currently that are in the budget. I know that there was on the employment opportunities, it says there's one 12-month part-time position that they're advertising for. There's also one position for summer of 2015. So there's going to be two people hired, or are those two different positions, or?
Okay, so would you speak to that, please?
No, it's for one position. That was an error in posting that on the website, but it's just one position for 12 months, part-time.
Okay, and then my other question was, I know we've heard discussions before about this position, and we were told, as co-president of the Mustangs, we were under the impression that we were going to lose the, you currently pay the stipend for weight room supervisors, or in order to pay for this, but now we see that we're going to lose an assistant wrestling coach as well. From what I understand, there's two wrestling coaches, a head and an assistant. Is that going to leave us at the high school with one wrestling coach?
I believe there was a head and two assistants, and I think this reduces it by one assistant because of the number of athletes participating. You can check with Mr. Pimentel about that. I know you're in communication with him quite often. He recommended this change, and I do believe, I could be mistaken, but I do believe it still leaves us with a head coach and an assistant.
Both paid?
Yes. Two paid. Yes, I believe so. But please check with him, and if there's any issues, just give me a call.
Hi, Cheryl Matra, Brittany Road. There is two assistants. I just got a text for wrestling, but just to let you guys know that wrestling can be, needs to have supervision on it. So I personally don't think that that's where the area needs to be cut. When you go to wrestling tournaments, sometimes you have 3 or 4 kids wrestling at the same time, and you need to have a coach on the corner of the mat. So I think it's not a great place to be cutting another assistant. I think that we need to have it.
Thank you, Cheryl. There are no more questions on the budget, and we'll move on to committee reports. Are there any committee reports? Mike?
Curriculum. Actually met twice since the last meeting. We actually met briefly before this meeting to discuss an issue having to do with the master schedule at the high school. Main meeting was on April 21st, and a few updates here. World language update. The World Language Task Force is going to be completing its work at the beginning of May, and they're going to share their findings with Dr. Freed. There's going to be a couple of changes to the elementary world language program for next year based upon feedback that we've received. One is that teachers in grades K through 5 will only teach Spanish. Having said that, the students in grades 3 through 5 who already have a Rosetta Stone account will continue to split time between Rosetta Stone and Spanish with the classroom teacher. Students in grades K through 2 are going to get Spanish 1 period a week. And there's going to be a letter sent out explaining this in more detail. We discussed the results of the last QSAC, which the district was deemed to be a high-performing district, which is great. We briefly discussed standardized testing, the testing dates coming up, and there are questions about the impact that the park may have had on the instruction during the school day. There is some discussion about the high school master's schedule. Everything is moving together on time and on target. There's discussion about a new initiative called the AP Capstone Program, which we're going to be applying to. This doesn't mean we're going to get it, but it'd be nice if we did. It's a prestigious program, and it's you can equate it with the IB Baccalaureate program. If we get it, we're going to be creating 2 courses, AP Seminar and AP Research, which will be a very nice coupling for the students who are already in our humanities and science research programs. And finally, 2 new programs which are going to be introduced next year. One is called the Lucy Calkins Unit of Study, which is a new writing program for grades K through 5, which is it's called Units of Study in Opinion, Information, and Narrative Writing, which is replacing the current program being a writer, which is not aligned to the aforementioned Common Core standards. And introducing a new program called Just Words, which is a response to intervention, and it's to support students who are having difficulty reading, primarily basic skills, and special education students who are not reading at grade level.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions? Are there any other committee reports? Finance, policy, communication, safety. Okay, delegate liaison reports. There's Morris County School Board is having a meeting Thursday, and the delegate assembly is sometime in May. Anything from DAC or Mustangs? Okay, any PTC liaison reports?
Yes, one report from Valley View. I was able to join the Valley View School on April 22nd for their PTC meeting. They had a lot of good news to share, which you can find in the applicant good news section of tonight's report. Among them, they were happy to recognize the involvement of their alumni coming back from the environmental club here in high school to put on an Earth Day program for the Valley View students, and also recognize the success of their math-a-thon program to raise over $9,800 for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Despite some technical difficulty, they announced a very successful senior luncheon on May 20th, and look forward to some fun dates coming up. Of course, the Valley View Fun Fair, which will be on May 15th, and the Scholastic Book Fair later on in June. They are on track to elect their board for next year, with a nominating report coming up hopefully at their next meeting.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Anybody else? Yeah, I was at the Cedar Hill meeting on April 15th, and they basically talked about their end-of-year activities, and we briefly spoke about tonight's budget adoption, updated on the superintendent search as well as the media center update. And there were a couple of board members, Charlie included, and myself, who did attend along with our central office staff, Dr. Freed and Andrea and Casey, the Arbor Day recognition of Mrs. Elk. It was a very lovely ceremony. Just a brief update on the media center. Renovation here at the high school is moving along very nicely. I think once it's done, people are going to be very pleased. It's, the architects have been wonderful, very responsive, and I think people, it's going to be a wow. It really is. It's coming out beautifully. A small glitch, perhaps, with a possibility of expanding into the courtyard. We're trying to work that out, but other than that, it's moving along really splendidly. Any updates on negotiations? Okay, I'll open it up to the public for items on the agenda. Okay, seeing none, close public participation. Now, motion for items J through O, including the addendum, which, as Jim said, includes a minor correction in the budget adoption Okay, any questions on J?
Madam President?
Yes,
I'd like
Mike.
to speak to one of the items in section J, just briefly.
Please.
Okay. That being the resolution in opposition to the Pilgrim pipeline. Okay, first of all, I'd like to thank and congratulate the board and the administration for putting this item on the agenda. As you're probably aware, over 30-some towns in the county through their governing bodies have made such a resolution. We are among the first group of school districts to do so. This resolution, I think, is especially important coming from the Board of Education because of the concerns for our young people and the possibility that the pipeline would pass very near to one of our schools. So I'd like to thank the board for putting this on. I'd like to thank the people in the community who have worked to support this resolution and to support the opposition to the pipeline. In closing, I'd just like to say that the pipeline issue is not over. There is some information out there that this issue has gone away. It has not. It is in advance. There will be a presentation in the township here on May 21st at the senior house to update any members of the community that want to attend on the status of the pipeline at that point in time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Karen, I just wanted to say that I concur with what Mr. O'Brien said. Thank you, Mr. O'Brien, for letting us know about May 21st.
And I have to credit one of our community members for passing along the resolution to us and asking that it be placed on the agenda. So thank you. Any questions on K?
I have one, Chairman.
Yes, Charlie.
The last item, high school, item L on the
Oh, this is K. I'm sorry, Charlie.
K4,
I'm
you still
on
on
K.
J?
Yeah, I'm on K.
Yeah, K4.
K4.
Use of facility
You said
request.
L, but that's okay.
It's item L on that K4.
Yep.
I just didn't understand it.
Yeah, use facilities. I just gotta pull up our schedule, Mr. Here it is. The last one, Mr. Grau? Oh, yes, yes, this is a request by the attorneys actually for GCA Court. This has to do with an employee.
Department of Community Affairs?
No, no. GCA, our custodial outsourcing.
That's good. I know that. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions on K?
Karen, not a question, but a comment. Item K7, you brought the budget, which will be voted on this evening. I just wanted to publicly state my personal thanks to Dr. Freed for making it a collaborative effort, utilizing the input from school level and district-wide, and you, Mr. Davis, putting together a very sound budget again. Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you to the administrators and everyone in the district for putting together a budget that is as sound as this in the economic times that we're dealing with.
Thank you, Dr.
Any other comments on K? L? M? N? O, or the addendum? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Grau?
Yep.
Dr. Kane?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Dr. Modry?
Yes.
Mrs. Noe?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Aye.
Mr. Palmer?
Yes.
Dr. Cordilino?
Yes, except, I'm sorry, abstain on check number 78752, as well as M1 number 3.
Motion's passed.
Thank you. Any old business, additional reports, or general board comments?
I'll just make a general comment. I see the Lazar clan has left already, but I did have a chance to attend Fiddler on the Roof last week. Just want to express my appreciation to the directors, all the kids and the supervisors involved, and all the teachers who made it a wonderful production. They're always so much fun, and it's a great feeder program for the drama club at the high school.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. I wanted to mention to the community and to fellow board members that board members received an invitation May 14th to a program at Lazar called Living Lessons. This is a program, if you have not been there, I highly recommend going. People who have been through a personal life tragedy have the opportunity to speak before the children in the classroom, and the impact is so powerful. I know you've been there, Karen and Charlie. The impact on the students, with being with the students as they're hearing the trials and tribulations of some incredible human beings is very, very strong. That's May 14th, and it runs until 2:39 to 2:30.
Thank you, Matt.
Karen, one more
Yes.
item, I'm sorry, I have to
Sure.
apologize. Just
No.
an extension on check 78833. That was an oversight on my part.
Okay, what was that? Abstention on what?
Abstention on check 78833.
788. No further comment. I'll open it up to the public for items not on the agenda.
Hello, my name is Lydia Bruno. I am a cafeteria worker, and I'm sure you recognize us. And I have been here for 30 years. I am also a member of 32 BJ. These are my coworkers who have also been here for about 20 or 30 years. As you know, we have a new food service company, Montville, and we're having a very difficult time with them. We have been in negotiations for our contract since the summer of 2014. And we have so many issues that we just can't settle that it seems like this is going to be going on forever. One of the more serious issues at this point is health insurance. We're asking for some sort of a health plan for the ladies for insurance. We're not asking for anything that we didn't have prior to this with the previous food service company, just something similar to that. We certainly don't want them to pay for all of it, but maybe a portion of it, offer us something, you know. They are adamant about not offering us anything at all. Our concern is that if the ladies don't have health insurance and do become ill, and can't afford to go to a doctor for an office visit, we certainly don't want them coming into school and infecting everybody, the children, the teachers, the rest of the staff. So it's something that is a high priority for us. Also, in all the previous negotiations that we have been in with them, they have been so rude and disrespectful to the union rep as well as to us. They have pointed fingers at us and stood up at the table, and they were just very, very rude. We're just asking them to do the right thing. Okay, we're not asking for anything ridiculous. We're just asking that they come to some sort of an agreement with us and just do the right thing by us. We all work very hard. We take the children are our first priority, and you know, keeping that in mind, you would think that they would be kinder about it, but they're not at all. So I'm wondering if you know what kind of a food service company you actually hired.
Well,
and we're just asking.
I really do appreciate you coming to the mic tonight and sharing your concerns with us.
We're just asking that you ask them to do the right thing. Okay? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ines Villavicencio. I am the lead negotiator for the cafeteria workers. Lydia asked you a question, and one of the questions is, if you know what kind of company you hire to serve the lunches and the food here for your kids, and their kids too. Some of the members here not only work here, but also they live here, so the property taxes here too. And what I brought you is some proofs and records of Montonia being a company that just violated law, right? Over here in Montville, Montonia has been under investigation for violating labor law. I don't know if you remember one of those labor laws that happened was when the workers raised the voice and said we're ready to strike, they were actually terminated. As you know, I see you have attorneys here, that's actually an unfair labor practice, and that's actually against the labor law. Not only that, but also in Montonia has been violated numerous times labor law, right? I brought you the notice. We actually had taken them to court where the labor board, National Labor Board actually stated that they violated the law and not negotiating in good faith. They did this in South Orange, Maplewood, where the labor board decision stated that they had to negotiate in good faith with us, and actually they just did not negotiate in good faith with us. And they also doing it in Montville. And like I said, over here, I'm going to give you.
If you hand it to our board secretary, he'll make sure that the board receives it.
So again, what we're asking for, we're not asking for anything else than what the workers used to have before with Alma. We're asking for Montonia to be a responsible contractor and do the right thing here for the members and stop violating the workers' rights. Not only that, but also stop violating the freedom of speech. So for you to have an idea what we're talking about, the members are asking Montonia to do payroll deductions. And for example, or union dues deduction. And Montonia has proposed in the contract negotiation to delete that part. It's not about union dues, it's about the right for the workers to decide if they want to do any kind of payroll deductions here. Not only that, but also like Lydia said, we're talking about health insurance. They haven't even come to the table and offer health insurance. As you know, they deal with Windsor here. So if any of them, they're not able to maybe take a sick day off because maybe they don't have it, because maybe the school has been closed because of the snow days. So they cannot afford to even go to the doctor because they don't have a health insurance. So what's going to happen? A lot of disease, a lot of illness can be spread out. So we're asking you to please talk to Montonia and ask them, we're tired. We have been negotiating a contract since September 2014. And we have filed many charges against them that they are under investigation right now. And we are asking you to please tell them to do the right thing here for the cafeteria workers. Again, we're not asking for anything else that they used to have before. We're not asking for numbers that are above wherever they used to see before. We're not asking for language that Montonia never saw before. This is the same contract that we wanted before. We want fair increases, fair wages. We want fair, health insurance. And we are please asking you to also do the right thing for your cafeteria workers here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, Cheryl Matron again. I'm here representing Montville Mustang Association from the high school. And I know they came to you in the beginning of the school year to see if they could sell a brick for outside the high school. They've been working very closely with Doug Sanford, and we would like to show you our design as to what we are planning. So if I could just bring that up and just so I guess we just need your final approval.
This is something that Doug has approved and worked with our business administrator?
I don't know if Jim has, but they've been working with, I'm only here because Cindy and Scott could not be here as president, so.
Okay. Well, trust me when I tell you, if they give their seal of approval, there's no way the board would not support it.
Okay, and we have talked to Doug, so I know he is behind it, but we wanted to give you guys a heads up to show you, and then once you guys look at it, if it was approval, we.
Is that a copy that you can keep?
Uh-huh.
Great, thank you, Joe.
Hi, I'm Carrie Spence from Walkout, and I just wanted to thank you guys so much for acting so quickly, creating the resolution against the Pilgrim pipeline and passing it, because I know Mr. O'Brien mentioned that not too many towns have passed, we're only the third of all the towns that it's gone to where the Board of Ed has passed a resolution like this, so thank you.
Well, thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Well, we appreciate it, and the other two towns, it didn't go through very easily either, so thank you for that as well. Every step our town takes against this pipeline will no less than a threat to the environment, children's safety, and our property rights, so thank you.
I'm Ken Delsky with Field Drive Parsippany, and I'm a member of the coalition against the pipeline, and I've been supporting Kerry. And I just wanted to say thank you very much for the model Board of Ed. We're trying to get other boards of Eds, 29, 30 towns, to do the same thing, but we really appreciate you stepping up and taking the lead on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no further public participation,
Karen, before we
Charlie?
adjourn, I'm just saying, I know we got this with New Jersey School Board is handing out grants, well, I shouldn't say they're handing them out. They're accepting proposals for grants, and it looks like it could be over $1 million. So I just wanted to share this with the superintendent because, well, the deadline is June 15th or something like that, June 12th. I think it's an opportunity where we might be able to pick up part of that $1 million. So just to share that, maybe we could hear back at the next meeting or two to find out if it's worthwhile or if it's not. Okay?
Thank you, Charlie. Anyone else?
Yes, regarding one of the groups that spoke to us, I was wondering if, I don't know which is the appropriate form, whether it's an open agenda item or because it's legal, closed agenda item, but I'm wondering if at some point in time, our attorney or whatever appropriate authority could brief us on exactly where our responsibilities begin and end in reference to the matters that were brought up by Tom Tony. I'm not asking for it now. I'm just asking that there be a clarification. I mean, so to speak, it's under our roof. It's under, whatever goes on is under our roof. So if we could have, I'm not asking right now, a clear explanation for those of us, especially that are new board members, like where our responsibilities and involvement begin and end, since it is our building.
Certainly. If I could make a suggestion to the board president.
I can't quite hear you, Jim.
I'm sorry. If I could just make a suggestion to the board president, maybe we add it to the next closed session agenda so we can have a discussion.
Yeah.
real quick.
I already made a note.
Thank you. Yes,
You're welcome.
appreciate it.
Anything else? Okay, motion to adjourn?
Want to go into close?
Oh, sorry, thanks, Charlie. Yeah, motion to close for the purpose of the super personnel
And
and super and negotiations.
So moved.
Action will be taken,
Public should
correct?
know that no action will be taken once we come back out.